Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to Gachie Skyman TV, the tallest man in Black Africa. Let me start by asking the people who live in Githurai, Zimmerman, Kawa West, and some areas along Thika Road. What was happening yesterday at night? What was actually happening? Because we'd like to hear a clear picture of what was happening. For those of you who live in those places, Zimmerman, Roysabu, Kawa West, and Githurai, maybe you can put in the comment section and tell us what you experienced yesterday night. So, ladies and gentlemen, when you look at our country today, you realize that there's a lot of confusion. Total confusion. Today, the media had said that they would go on strike, they'd go on demonstration, following the shooting of one of their own, following the way they have been mistreated by the policemen. And we are yet to get the information. I don't know whether the media is still going on with the strike. I don't know. But as the day unfolds, we are going to give our views and we are going to see what is going to unfold. So, ladies and gentlemen, when you look at William Ruto, you see some glaring weaknesses in many areas as far as the management of the current situation is concerned. You see so many gaps. You see some areas that, if not taken care of, can actually be disastrous. When you look at the way the situation is being managed, you see it leaves a lot to be desired. I want to point a number of issues. Number one, when you look at William Ruto, initially he looked like he did not understand the gravity of the Gen Z movement. Not even William Ruto, even the NIS seems not to understand the gravity of the Gen Z movement. And I think Gachagua was right when he said that NIS failed William Ruto. If you look at even the way William Ruto reacted the first day when people overran Parliament, you see somebody who was completely angry and out of touch with the real situation. But I still remember one thing that Gachagua had said earlier. That he said this in Kikuyu, and maybe you can visit that video. I don't need to put it here because he was speaking in mother tongue. That was sometime before the demonstration erupted, before the country erupted. So when you look at it, you realize that the NIS, the DCI, have not only failed the president, but the country in general. It means there are so many things that either they are hiding, maybe from the government, or they are sleeping on their work. Number two is that the government was caught flat-footed, sleeping. It was caught napping. Ukiangalia utaona kwamba the trade has been repeated. That this thing could metamorphose into an octopus, a dangerous octopus, an octopus that is so hard to handle, can only raise some issues as far as our country is concerned, as far as the government is concerned. So it means that either the government or the president was getting the briefing or he was ignoring the situation. Because the way I know about our NIS are actually respected all over the world. And I remember people walikuwa nasema kwamba they are second to the Israeli NIS. But now when you look at it, then you see there are some issues that actually are raising concerns. The other thing is, yesterday I observed some gaps, and I realized that somebody is sleeping on his job. And if I were the president, I would fire some of these guys who are handling these issues. When you look at the Gen Z came up with a decoy of occupying JKIA. But the real intention was to occupy the CBD. They ended up killing two birds with one stone. What happened is that the government mobilized all the security agencies, the NIS in vehicles without number plates, mobilized the GSU, mobilized the soldiers, mobilized the policemen, all the way to JKIA, barabara zikafugwa, nini. And literally, when you look at it, the Gen Z did not enter the JKIA, but they forgot the CBD. So when you look at it, it was very clear that the Gen Z had planned actually to demonstrate in the CBD, and from around maybe 1:30 all the way to 4:30, the Gen Z were demonstrating freely in the CBD. So you can see the gap I'm talking about. You can see. So if William Ruto needed to stop the demonstration in the CBD, then it means the people who are concerned here failed. And that's why you see even people like Bugei waliachwa bila kujua lolote, and they had no choice other than interacting freely with the demonstrators. And that one, for the first time, I saw Bugei behaving well, the way he interacted with demonstrators without actually attacking anybody. And you see, even the demonstrators did not attack anybody. So this one is something that, these are what I'm calling gaps and weaknesses in William Ruto's government. The other thing is that if you look at William Ruto policemen, they are using archaic, ancient method of controlling crowds. Ni kama vile kutumia moshi in communicating, using drums to communicate, when we have state-of-the-art gadgets today. Sasa ukisema ati utatumia moshi because you see, look at the way they are controlling crowds. Wanatumia fujo. Fujo cannot work in modern day Kenya. Let me say this very clearly. And that is why I strongly believe that the more you use violence against innocent Kenyans, the more you fuel the situation. And I want again to go back to what happened in the CBD. When you look at what was happening in the CBD, you realize that watu hawakuwa na lolote, hawakuwa na mengi. But again, if you go again kule Bakasi, you could see the military. And I want to give the military a thumbs up. And maybe you can like this video in support of the way the military managed the situation. You realize that the military did not even bother with the demonstrators. Wanapita tu wanawasalimia. This is the way to go. This is the way to go. Issues whereby you fight the policemen. You know, remember you are dealing with the very intelligent guys. Those guys you see on the street, the Gen Z, some of them have several degrees. They have been dormed. They have been to school. Wengi wamesoma ni kazi wamekosa. So when you bring now the policemen, with all due respect to the policemen, who actually, when you look at most of the policemen, maybe 75% of the policemen are from 4 graduates, and just a few who are university graduates. When you look at these people, you realize that it was the game of minds. The game of minds is the one that is playing out. So when you look at the situation now here, you realize these archaic methods cannot work in independent Kenya. Again, we saw the policemen actually throwing water and the canister inside people's houses. And maybe you can tell us if you are in those houses. And whatever they were using, whether that water was raised with chemicals, I don't know. But that idea look like archaic, look like we are fueling more problem. Because you see, again, you see, you create more anger. And I was worried because inside those houses are small kids who do not even know what is happening. So how can you explain, for example, or instance, if a child inhale that chemical water? What explanation do you have? So this kind of brutality cannot work in modern Kenya. So when you look at it, you see the police are still using excessive force, and this excessive force can only make the situation worse. And again, even that idea of threatening, like now the language that the president used on Sunday when he was Bomet, that language, I think, it is likely to fuel more anger. The best situation would actually, you please use the Mandela kind of language. What do you think Mandela would have managed the situation if it was Nelson Mandela? You know, for you to be a true nationalist, you need also to calm down. Calm down. Sometimes you calm down all the way where people are, so that you look like you care, so that you look like you listen. And all said and done, I think this situation can be managed in a better way. And even that idea of sending goons, it is not the best at all, at all, at all. For one, it leads to destruction of properties. Secondly, the loss of life. And you see, the tension is likely to be very, very high. I know that in the fullness of time, because you see now, I've seen there are some areas that William Ruto is really, because even if you look at his advisors, whom we don't know even now whether they have left, because he was supposed to reduce them by 50%. Sijui kama akina David bado wako ofisini, sijui wale wengine ambao walikuwa pale. So when you look at the way he actually brought the CSs, you realize some weaknesses here. Because I think, because the government is large, these people should have been given other areas. People like Adan Duale, alfaa pewa kazi zingine ama waachiliwe bali. This country has so many competent people. So when you see the president now bringing the old faces, same old faces, you see Kenyans won't be happy. And when you look like, when I look at it from a psychological point of view, I've noted one thing, that people want William Samoei Ruto to deliver. I've looked keenly at the way people reacted when the CS, the lady CS, was taken to the defense. People talked about, although she was criticized, when just looking at the message, you see people coming up to term with the reality and accepting, and they want him to succeed. In fact, people want William Samoei Ruto to succeed. But they look like William Samoei Ruto does not understand this, because you see, when you bring those those old faces, I think that's why he's failing us. If I were William Samoei Ruto, I would bring people who are brainy, people whom you cannot even compromise. And because you see, all said and done, we are actually heading towards 2027. Already, when you look at 2024 is gone. You have 2025, 2026. 2026, it will be full-blown campaign. So you're just talking about 2 years. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is my take. I don't know what you think. But from where I sit, William Samoei Ruto's strategy, some of them seems to leave a lot to be desired. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.